Welcome to the Level Up Sports Talk Show. I am your host for this evening, John Knott. I have my analyst for this evening. I have CJ, I've got Wes, and I've got James ready to get into some early preseason football topics for the NFL. We're going to talk about Shador Sanders, the Cleveland Browns, all of the whole roster that they have right now. We're going to talk about that. Who will win the NFC North as well as the AFC North this year? And we also get some picks in for our early Rookie of the Year candidates for this upcoming season. So the first question we got for the night is, what should the Cleveland Browns do with their crowded quarterback depth chart? So right now, as you see on the screen, they got Kenny Pickett, they have Dylan Gabriel, they have Joe Flacco, Shador Sanders, and they also have Deshaun Watson, but he's on the PUP currently, and Tyrone Huntley they just picked up as well. So that's the early question. What should they do with this crowded quarterback roster? What do you think? I'll start off with James, and then I'll make my way to Wes, and then CJ.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, it's a interesting, thing to see they got so many quarterbacks. And I was didn't even know they picked up you said they picked up Huntley. I didn't even know they picked him up. So
Yeah, they
with
just
them
picked him up
picking him,
recently the other day because a lot of them had a couple of injuries. Yeah.
with them picking him up, then that's kind of interesting. It kind of really shows you, maybe a lack of trust, in what they have so far, and really trying to open up the competition. Because me, from my point of view, I'm thinking, you get rid of Flacco, because Joe Flacco's kind of old. I mean, he's experienced guy. He's got a lot of experience, but he's kind of old now, and I think you can't really keep him on your roster when you got these other young QBs, on your roster. But right now, because look at Pickett, I think Pickett is a good, third string QB. To actually, he could be second string QB to have in your in your team. Because one of these guys get injured. Whoever you go with, whether you decide to go with the rookies, whether you go with Gabriel or Sanders. Now, I would say if whoever your top pick is between them to start, because I think you should start one of these young quarterbacks. Give them a chance, to grow into the system, and give them a chance to develop early. So start one of them, and Pickett could be your second, option, and then one of the other rookie could, be third string. Keep learning, keep growing. But I would definitely get rid of Flacco and Huntley. If you bring him in, you might as well go in and see how he does. His potential doesn't really show, you probably might as well cut him early too, because I don't think I think three quarterback is good to have three QBs in your on your 52-man roster for sure. So I would, definitely keep your two rookies, build them, mold them around one another, and then Pickett. Maybe I just have high hopes for Pickett. Maybe, cut Pickett and keep Huntley, but I think Pickett's a good pick, QB 2 or 3 to have on your team. So
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, Pickett is he just won the Super Bowl with the Eagles, so hey, you're not just throwing something against the wall. It really is sticking on that one.
Mhm.
Wes, what do you say about it, man?
Yeah, I believe that it's definitely crowded for sure. I mean, so you got six, you got Watson the IR, Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders, and Huntley that picked up. I know that you end up they having some uh, medical issues with the hamstrings and those things linger, which is why they picked up Tyler. I think eventually they're going to end up cutting him. We know that Flacco isn't the answer. He's there on a year deal. Out of all of them, Pickett would be the one that I'd probably hold on to. But what they're going to do, I mean, it's a competition. So they're in a good position. It's a long season, barring injuries and any of the other teams out there. So, I could see them seeing uh, their abilities and what they have out there and potentially trading one later. Um, in case injuries occur elsewhere in the league. So, uh, one thing is, I mean, the Browns have a decision to make for sure. It's new offense, new offense coordinator, and so everyone's on a level playing field at this time. I think Flacco, being the veteran, they did sign that year. I believe he's going to be the starter, but uh, get rid of Watson. They're going to get rid of Huntley, and then that's going to leave your Gabriel and Sanders, and probably trade Pickett later as a veteran. option to help out a team and go after you know uh, a Super Bowl win.
Yeah, I definitely agree getting rid of Watson. I miss saying him just because he's really a non-factor. But yeah, I definitely get rid of him. I don't think you get much for him anyway, honestly, in the on the
Mm-mm.
market.
All right, CJ, what you got, man?
For the most part, I'm kind of go against some of what y'all saying on because if I heard correctly, there's a news article out there that's saying that ownership, again, the owner, GM, whoever, does not is not in full support of Shador Sanders. So yeah, they got a crowded backfield, but what I'm thinking is if you're not happy with Shador, they may use this too. They could probably use this season as just a let him and Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett try out, and try and lead the team for the season. And they may go back with Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I agree. Joe Flacco is going to fall off. Flacco's just there as just an old mentor, so,
Hmm.
mentor. But you got Dylan Gabriel too. Like I said, I've seen this with Washington. They grabbing two quarterbacks in the same draft, and then in this coaches and owners that's going to move that line. So I hope Shador has a great season so he could showcase something, and they're probably going to use him as trade value to try and get something else. Unless ownership really backs him, I might not see Shador staying there long, you know, because they just depends on what happens and what happens with Deshaun Watkins, so
Right.
that is a very bad loaded backfield, especially with Huntley being added. That's just probably because of just supplement injuries. And I'll say again, the older person is gonna go. Joe can go, and then everybody else. Kenny's been around for a while, and then you got the two rookies. Sanders is better than the other one. So we can see two of them easily dropping off. I think Shador is probably going to end up being the starter though, and I think that's going to be more in case of him showcasing his abilities, so they could sell him later.
Okay, that's definitely the angle I was actually going to go with, CJ. While we're listening to a few um, of the news articles this past week, that was one of the rumors that I kind of heard was that they were actually going to showcase him and start him this week to see exactly how one you give an opportunity to show how he can play, but you're advertising him for maybe a trade value later on. One a team that when I as I was thinking about it, and I don't know if you guys watched this game the other day, but with the Indianapolis Colts, and you had Anthony Richardson playing, and he was being a former first round pick. He's in year three, and on the play that if you guys saw the injury where he got hit from the his blind side, um, it was like he didn't even slide the coverage over to that area, and then the guy hit him and he dislocated his pinky finger, and it could have been a lot worse. And so I'm thinking to myself, man, they could definitely do an upgrade. They have Daniel Jones, they have Anthony Richardson, but they may still be looking for a quarterback for the future for that team as well. So if you do got value in whether it's Gabriel or Shador, whichever one you see that fitting with the fans and with who you see your coaches pushing forward, keep that one. Maybe you have the other one as a backup, but if you see potential for another team, hey, use it for trade value. So I'll just say from what I saw, from right now, from what we do know, Shador Sanders played pretty good the other night. He had a pretty solid game. His first couple of drives, he made the only thing I seen he made. He kind of overthrew one of the players on one play, and then he was kind of running around in the pocket on the second. Other than that, everything else he was solid. You saw on his latter throws, he was having touch on his passes. He had ended up with two touchdown passes, no interceptions. Um, and I think he really kind of wowed the fans with just how he was playing as the game progressed. So I think he was doing a lot of things that he did in Colorado before the season ended for him last year. So That's what I see, and I think that's how they're going to go forward with it. So I kind of sort of agree with you as well, CJ.
Can I get a rebuttal on this one
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
And I hear what y'all saying, and the article that you guys looked at or whatever. I think their point, and it's easy to give that point of view when you say, okay, they got this guy in the fifth round. You got so many quarterbacks. I would definitely see if you can, start him, make him look, see if he can look good, and try to make a trade. Honestly, if you look at it, this is preseason. You're putting all the people who most likely not going to get play time, and then you're giving some of your stars later on in the preseason. You start giving a few minutes to your starters and things like that. So honestly, you're not really seeing real play time from a full potential point of view of what starting defenses and starters are going to look like on the field competing against a player. So what you probably see is really not trade value. You can't really, use trade value until you playing this guy in regular, real live seasons, real live games where it's intense and the starters are there playing and giving you the business. So yeah, that sounds to me like a fairy tale. Showcasing him early and see if you can get a good trade later on. You got to see him play live in real time games.
I
Yeah,
hear you on
yeah,
that.
absolutely. And I want to add too on that. It would be unprecedented for us to see all four of these at some point in the regular season with the Browns.
True, true. I mean, that's just where it is right now. All these guys, I mean, they got them right now on the roster. So we know they're going to start making cuts. So it could be 2 weeks from now, and those cuts be made maybe 4 hours from right now, because that's when the end of the preseason will be. And so we're definitely going to see at least 2 or 3 cuts come very soon. So it's gonna wind or figure itself out actually in time. All right, so we'll move on to our second question for tonight. And that is, what team wins the NFC North division this year? All right, we'll start off with CJ. We'll go to Wes and then James, and then I'll follow after that.
NFC North,
Yeah.
I got Detroit.
All right.
It's just a safe bet. I mean, they're pretty much solid. They've been consistent for the last few years. Everybody's coming back healthy, so I can't say with Green Bay where it's going. I do like Jordan Love. I can't say with the Vikings because I don't know how that is that quarterback going to show up like he did last year, or is
Well,
this
see, with the
going to be
Vikings, so you have Sam Darnold, he's playing with Seattle, and you have
JJ
Um,
McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy, yeah, he's playing for the Vikings now.
and
He's
that
actually
that
played yesterday at the preseason game.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I don't know what quarterback you getting with the Vikings. So like I said, with the safest bet would be Detroit Lions winning that division. Consistency, veteran levels, and people just playing out. Everybody just going out and playing their roles. So as long as people stay healthy, I see Detroit still coming out on top in that division.
All right, Wes, what do you say about that?
Well, I actually think the Packers are going to take a step forward. I think the Packers have very much improved their defense. Their defense was admirable, was good last year, and I think they've gotten better. And I think Jordan Love is going to take that step up. I think he's going to come back from last year. I like the depth of running back. I like the wide receivers. I think Golden was an absolute gem, and I think he's going to be their X receiver moving forward, and you're going to hear Love and Golden quite a bit.
All right, James, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Wes actually. I didn't know nobody was gonna put Green Bay on top, but I'll start my spiel from the beginning. But just agreeing with Wes. I think we already know that the Lions are a tough team. We know who they are already. Minnesota. We're not sure what their QB situation, which I agree with CJ. We're not sure what they're gonna look like. We're gonna find out if Sam Darnold was just playing great, or we're gonna find out if the Vikings coaching staff, is one of those systems that's set up for QBs to be successful. We'll find that out. But right now, of course, we don't know, so I don't know where to put them and how to really rank them right now without no QB for sure. And then kind of if you look at um JJ McCarthy, like I said, that's their first round pick. That's a 2024 first round pick. Most
Right.
likely, they're probably gonna go with him. Since they picked him early first round like that, had a year to grow. Watch the game under Sam Darnold. So that's probably their way forward. But of course, we really don't know what it's gonna look like. So I'm looking at Green Bay, like Wes said, Green Bay. I'm gonna give them the edge to win that division because they look good last year. It was kind of surprising how they played. They had their ups and downs, but I think they'd be more consistent this year. I think the defense, like I said, the
Mhm.
defense got better. They're gonna play better, and their backfield, is pretty. I think they got a pretty good solid backfield. With Aaron running the ball, and so I think they're looking good, man. I like Green Bay.
Mhm.
All right, and I agree as well, guys. Just based off of what you guys have already said, you have a new head coach that's going to be with the Bears. Um,
Mhm.
with Johnson coming over from as offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions. Um, so that leaves you with okay, first year head coach. You have the second year quarterback. Caleb Williams, I think he can improve, especially under Johnson as being his go-to guy, in his ear, show him different ways in the offense that it can improve from what he did last year. I hear a lot of articles and news stations talk about Caleb Williams like it's all his fault. Like me personally, I think the guy has a lot of tools.
Mhm.
He just needs to learn a certain system or blend it with what he does well. I think it's gonna work fine for him in the future. I think he's gonna be better than what people think.
Mhm.
So with the Vikings gonna have the defense, but I do think it's gonna be some growing pains for McCarthy coming out.
Mhm.
He still has to learn the speed of NFL is not college football, even though I know that he won a national championship. I think it's gonna be different for him there, so I think he's gonna struggle a little bit. Out of
Yeah.
Detroit, them losing, um, you losing two offensive and a defensive coordinator like that. I think that's going to hurt, especially on the offense when it's those key moments when Dan Campbell has to go over and look and say, "Hey, I want to go for it on fourth down. Are you ready?" I don't know if that's he's going to have the same, system or offense to run that fast and that, confidently like they did last year in the last few years.
Mhm.
Um, that's just me. I do think they're going to have a great team. I think they're going to have a great team, but I don't think they're going to be as they were last year. They were on the road last year, like 9, 10 games in a row at one
Yeah.
point. And so I just don't think that when you take out that offensive coordinator and that continuity, the play calling ability with the quarterback and the, you know, ideas that he has, I do see Green Bay being the taking the NFC North. And that's because
Yeah.
Jordan Love getting better at what he does without
Mhm.
injuries. Bar, hopefully he does not have any injuries going into this season.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows I'm a Packer fan. I pray to God that he doesn't have any injuries.
Yeah.
Josh Jacob keep running the ball like he's doing. The defense, if they just improve, that alone. But the one thing, the key thing I think
Mhm.
for Green Bay is you have the same consistency at the receiver spot, but you have what undoubtedly they've already said in the NFL draft. You got Matthew Golden there out of Texas as a steal. They're saying
Mhm.
before the draft he had the best hands in the whole group. You put that with his speed and Green Bay having a true number one receiver. I think that's going to be the
Mhm.
top on it.
It's
So
gonna be
that's
key.
going to
Yeah.
just blow everything and make it work
Yeah.
for their
Yeah.
liking.
And Josh Jacobs, he showed that he was worth being picked up because he balled like he never
Oh yeah.
balled before. I think he even
Mhm.
looked better than
Oh
when he
yeah.
was on the Raiders. So
Yeah. Look
Oh
real
yeah.
good. And that was my whole thing too with Detroit, with them losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and additionally they lost Terrell Williams, who was their linebackers coach,
Oh wow.
the D line coach, and now he's the defensive coordinator for New England Patriots. So I mean, you have all those elements that are away on paper. Detroit still has the people there, but different different scheme, different folks, and I'm just hoping, like you said, barring injury, I
Right.
think definitely Packers come forward.
and he's a secret weapon. Jaden excuse me, Jaden Reed, because I pick him up for my fantasy football because I like him, man. Like he just I don't know, man. He's just got that. He's got that. They were using him like a number one weapon, like how they kind of spread him all over the place though.
Yeah.
And
Oh
he
yeah.
runs the ball as well. Imagine now having, like you said, having a true number one, and then you still having him as one of those weapons on your squad, man. Now he'll be more open too if you have a true number one as well. So I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
and
yeah.
to go along with what you just said, James, and we haven't even mentioned for the Packers, Romeo Dobbs was being a big wideout, and you also have Christian Watson that was injured a
Yeah.
lot last year as well, along with his speed. So yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, things looking up.
dangerous. Yeah,
Well, I got a question for y'all.
yeah.
Y'all all said Green Bay's defense got better, or it seemed like it's got better, but y'all also lost Jameer Alexander for your DB.
Jair Alexander, yes.
Yeah, so I
But what
mean,
we did, and the reason why we say that about that, CJ, is so if you looked at it last year, Jair Alexander, and this out of the last actually 3 years, because of his injuries, he hadn't given us a whole lot. He hasn't been consistent enough, and that's pretty much the reason why we didn't, renew his contract to stay with us. And so, and I think that's part of the reason why Baltimore Ravens was like, yeah, we're not going to give you a major contract, but we'll see what you can do. Prove yourself first, and then we'll give you a contract if you can do that. So that's just basically what it is. We loved him. I mean, I liked him the whole time he was there. But I will say, I mean, he just kind of up, down, and it's part of the game. Injuries just, any person can have injuries at any time. But I mean, his talent, just along with how he's been able to play, it just wasn't there.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll leave that there for that question. And so we're going to get on to what James had mentioned just a minute ago, and that's with fantasy football. He said something about Jaden Reed. So we're going to get into switch gears right quick and get some fantasy football talk. So I'm going to go around the table and just ask, give our viewers some ideas, some tips if it's their first year playing fantasy football of some twos and what not to. Wes, I'll start it off with you. I'll follow after, and then I'll go to James and then CJ.
Yeah, I say just relax. I mean, I know everyone wants that QB of theirs, and that's a lot of times people reach for those really late. There's so much value, and I will say, with the way the last few years have been as far as tight ends go, uh, there are a lot more wide receiver, running back options out there in the first one, two, 3 rounds. I don't think I would jump up into that third round taking a tight end. I think I would wait past, maybe the sixth, seventh, even eighth rounds before I even go tight end because I think they're all kind of, other than Bowers or whatnot, McBride, you can pretty much go with anyone and have roughly 5 to 6 touchdowns and 6, 7, 800 yards. So I wouldn't reach that early for him. So maybe that'd be a pretty decent tip. Uh, I don't know. I like to load up with depending on if it's PPR, half point, full point, and
Mhm.
whatnot. But if it's PPR league, I'm definitely hitting if I got that first pick, and uh, Chase would be the one I would go with, Jamar Chase, and then maybe try to stack them later, maybe round sixth, seventh, get Burrow. So
Okay.
uh, there's my little tidbit.
All right, James, what can you give our viewers about fantasy football this year?
Yeah, I would say he brought up a good point about tight end, but I'm going to give a different angle when it comes to tight end because I realize there's two important things in this draft. At tight ends, there's only a couple, like he mentioned, and there's only a couple that really separates, everyone separates from everyone else. So if you can, definitely do not wait late to draft a tight end. So I'm kind of going opposite of what Wes is doing, which that's kind of hard to get opposite advice like that. But if you look at the top tight ends, which is only a handful, I mean, probably two of them, maybe three, the
Hmm.
point gap averaging 16 points 15 16 points a game by someone that you can get that's going to average 9 or 10. That's 5 6 point difference, and that could ultimately maybe win you a few games. especially when you're playing these close games that come out. But you got that solid one option, one of those guys like McBride, who's probably averaging 15, 16 points. That's a big difference right there. And I think that can help you because once you wait and you don't pick one of those top two, three guys up, that's it. You pretty much might as well wait like till, like Wes said, wait till the sixth, seventh, eighth round at that point because everybody else is practically the same and you're not gaining nothing. So if you can steal one early, steal it early. Don't wait because you need a top tight end in your lineup because you got to have them in there every week, except for injuries. Right. My second tip is gonna be QB. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, wait till the end to pick QB." Now, doing this like third year doing this, I realized the point difference between a top running a top QB compared to
Yeah.
the average. You're getting about 7, 8 point difference from those top ones compared to the average guys, and I'm like, wow, that's big. If you're gonna have somebody who's gonna put up a lot of points, go ahead and get that QB early. And Josh Allen, once again, he has surprised me. And Lamar Jackson, he has surprised. If you look at their points, their average points, it was ridiculous. Being top two up there, scoring as many points as they do. Those guys make differences. So if you could pick a great QB and a great tight end early, do so because those receivers and the running backs, you so many, and you're gonna get solid points from those positions. We're not saying don't pick them,
Mhm.
but if you could get those two picks, even if one of them, if you could pick early, pick one of them early.
James said whatever Wes said, opposite. Totally.
CJ, what are your thoughts, man, on fantasy football? What kind of tips you want to share with any person that's first time starting fantasy football?
Um, you got to get your quarterback right. Quarterback's got to be the quarterback has got to be important because depending on what league you're in or whatnot, but usually your quarterback is usually your most important person because he get the most points usually on your fantasy league. I would say do your research on trying to find the right quarterback for you in the versus in that second or third round or second, third round or fourth. I wouldn't start off with a quarterback at the very beginning unless he is that guy. And the research shows that you got to do your research on who doing what. Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, but Jalen Hurts wasn't leading in fantasy neither. You know what I'm saying? So he don't throw a whole lot. He dip and dump. In some games he don't even throw for 200 yards, or he barely throws for that. So you got uh, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield threw for 4,000. Lamar, I think he got up there. Um, um, the quarterback for the Lions. Golf. So you got a lot of the ones that are quarterbacks. They score, they throw, but then you got the ones. Then you got your Lamar Jacksons, and then you got your Patrick Mahomes. You have to do your research on which quarterback that you feel that you may want for your team and where they may fall. Do some mock drafts to try and figure out who may fall where.
Come on. Yeah.
Second advice is running backs. Productive running backs is a short commodity. You probably gonna have probably 15 good running backs, and they're gonna be gone real fast because you got running backs that move out that actually get rushing yards, and then running backs that get yards and they catch. They're the fail safe for the quarterback. So definitely try and grab you two quality running backs early. If you can steal it, steal it. But like I said, you have to come up with a plan on who you're trying to get on as a quarterback and then as your running backs. Because it's going to be plenty. It's going to be plenty of receivers. Yeah, some receivers are better than others, but again, receivers and tight ends is too many. But it's only a handful of productive tight ends running and quality running backs. So that's my
All right.
advice.
So I'll pick up from where what James was saying. I do say that the value at tight end. I'm gonna explain why I agree with him on that and why that was going to be one of my main points. Let's just say everybody in the league is pretty balanced. They got a good quarterback, spread out evenly receivers and running backs, and you got a defense in your special team. Well, you only have one tight end that's playing. There's one tight end on every team, right? That's going to be
Mhm.
starting. So that's the one that's going to have the value. Well, those top tight ends that you guys were mentioning, if you don't have like Laporta for Detroit Lions, or if you don't have Travis Kelsey, or if you don't have Brock Bowers, who was even though it was his first year last year, you can have a rookie that can just go out and shine. So, hint,
Mhm.
hint, viewers, if you happen to see Tyler Warren and he plays with the Indianapolis Colts, a lot of people not looking at him, but he's pretty much right now one of the odds on favorites for the rookie of the year, and that's just because of the talent that he had at Penn State last year. So I'm saying that the reason being, you'll have certain tight ends, certain offenses don't really have they get them the ball, like they spread the ball out and they have an offense built around that tight end. Not a lot of offenses in the league do that. They build it around, if you got with the Bengals, for example, you got Jamar Chase, and you got T Higgins, you got Chase Brown in the backfield. You're gonna be most of the time you're gonna be passing the ball with Joe Burrow. It's simple as that. That's how good he is. That's how good his receivers are. But it all depends on. That's why, as CJ was saying, go back and do your homework. And what Wesley said, do your homework. Make sure that you're looking at the team. What type of team is it? Do they run the ball more? 50%? Is it 50-50? Or are they running it? That means you might want to pick that running back up from that team, and just base it around. But the other thing I was going to say on top of that is, as CJ was saying, and I think somebody else mentioned it, don't just go for the quarterback all the time. Yeah, the quarterback is good because if you have that dual threat quarterback, he's going to get you more points. Yes, but this is where and I'm pretty sure every one of you have dealt with it. For the newcomers, make sure you have more than enough running backs and wide receivers. And the reason being, every year there's always this one key player that you have on your team, and he will go down at the worst possible time, right when you're going with a key matchup with somebody in your group, and then you'll find yourself, oh man, I got to get the waiver wire. Well, the waiver wire ain't helping you this week because you're like seventh or eighth down the list to get the guy, and somebody else already picked him up. So I would say, early and often, make sure you get more than enough running backs and wide receivers, and make sure you have plenty of depth before you jump off of that and go for some other players. Anybody else want to rebuttal of that? All right, that's enough for our fantasy football talk. Hopefully, you give me some pointers and hope you're winning your league. All right, so we'll go ahead to our third question for the night, and that is, what team will win the AFC North? So we've already went over the NFC North. We're going to go over now the AFC North. We'll start off with CJ. I'll start with you, and then I work my way around.
Mm, this one, this was a little tough. Safe bet. And I'm just go with safe bet right now. I say Baltimore. Baltimore. I mean, like I said, you got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. I mean, they got their receivers coming back healthy. As long as they stay with that rushing attack that they have, and that solid defense, they'll do fine. The reason I say it's tough is because of the man that's right there in the picture. It's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, which people don't know about last year, damn near had an MVP type season, put numbers wise as a quarterback, but the team was losing. I mean, I mean, they wasn't even in. They was only in the fight because of him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's sad that, but I mean, as long as that team comes back healthy and a catch here and a catch there, the Bengals could really be the one to bang it out with the Ravens. I don't see the Steelers being a factor as of right now. It's kind of what they still iffy at the quarterback. We still got to see how that plays out, and that goes the same for the Browns. When you have that unstable, don't know who the man is type, it's kind of hard to say, hey, they're gonna win. These two right here, they already pretty much solidified. It's just as long as they stay healthy. They know their scheme. They know what they're going to do. It's gonna be a dogfight between Baltimore and the Bengals, and I say the Ravens win it for that division.
All right. Wes, let me jump to you. I'm gonna go to you, man. What are your thoughts on that? Who wins that division?
Yeah, I think the Ravens do. Their defense is going to be. I mean, it's one of the best in the league. Um, you got Lamar Jackson. They're going to three-peat. It'll be the first team in the AFC to three-peat. I just think all around with their defense and their offense, they're going to be extremely hard to beat in that division. Hats off, yeah, Burrow had a good one, but they just the defense. I mean, they can put up 62 even, any given day, but they're going to give up 63.
Hmm.
It's just like my Falcons, I mean they'll throw up 48 and they'll give up 50. That's just kind of been their MO. So I'm looking for a three-peat in the AFC and I think Lamar is going to take a step forward when it comes to playoffs. I think you're going to see them um, in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Okay. We're giving some early grenades on the Super Bowl pick. All
Mhm.
right. James, what do you say
Yeah,
about it, man?
I'm laughing on West with that. That was a good joke. It was a good joke. Anyway, I don't disagree. I definitely agree that Ravens will definitely most likely win that division. You can't really trust no one else. If you look at the Steelers, they just trying to formulate, get a team together, trying to get figure out who they best QB is gonna be for the job, and so I don't really see much there. But I expect the Bengals to play better for sure. They got the team. They've shown that they could play. They've been there. They've fallen short. The problem is, CJ said Joe Burrow nearly had an MVP year. Not nearly, he had an MVP year. That dude had a great season. The numbers he put up was just unbelievable. But the problem is, that you have to pass them. And not only that, they got way better on running back too. When what's his name took over, I could see his face. When he
Zach
took
Moss,
Yeah, yeah, no, not Zach Moss.
Chase Brown.
Yeah, Chase Brown, because Zach Moss started, but he didn't do good. So
Right.
Brown took over, and Brown was
Hmm.
balling. So I think with that upgrade, they could look good. But the problem is they always seem to fall short. Like it's always something. And I don't want to spoiler alert in case we talk about that. I don't want to give that secret out, but it's always something about them. So I can't really put no trust in them. So Ravens again, I see, will come out of the AFC North.
Um, I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna actually go with Joe Burrow. Them. I'm sorry. I watched that second season of quarterback, and with Joe Burrow in there talking and just seeing the guy how frustrated the guy is, man. When they were losing, I'm gonna
Hmm.
just say that it's gonna be the opposite this year. I just feel like, I mean, yeah, they were down last year and they were losing some close games. As a matter of fact, it's just like one of the flip a coin and they lose by field goal or whatever. So they were in a lot of those games. Now, defensively, some games, yeah, they needed more help. Um, However, I will say when you're in the division with the AFC North, it is different because you know each other so well. The organizations there been fighting against each other for years. It's like one of those games when you have Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns to lose almost every game, but when they're playing in that one game that's televised and nobody picks them, that's the game that they go ahead and win. So, me personally, that's what I got. I got Joe Burrow this year with the Bengals winning the AFC North. Now that doesn't mean that I got them picked necessarily winning the whole thing, but I do got them picking to win the AFC North this year. That's that's who I'm going with this year. All right. So we'll keep moving along. And the next question is, what NFL coaches will be on the hot seat this year for 2025? Some might be already been on the hot seat at the end of the last year on 2024, but that's the question that we have right now. What NFL coach will be on the hot seat this year? Um, let me go with you, James, and then I work my way back to CJ and then Wes.
Yeah, I got two names, that I definitely think that deserves the top seed for being, on the hot seat. One of them is Sean McDermott for the Bills. Come on, like,
Okay.
you guys, like, y'all just I don't know what to say about the Bills, man. Sometimes it's just disappointing. Even when they really had the team to win, it seems like they just keep falling short. It's like the same old Bills, back in the 90s when they make it to the Super Bowl four times, one just can't win. Now, you can't barely get to the Super Bowl, and you seem like you got the team to win. So what it is, you need to shake something up. Something needs to be shaken up. I don't think, you dismantle a whole team, which they kind of did at wide receiver position and still played well. So I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but maybe he just doesn't know how to get the players, to a point where they could get over the top. Maybe I'm pushing for it too early. Maybe saying give him more time, but he's one of those guys. But if I was to probably say, on top of it, I would rather probably say Zach Taylor. And I know we talk about pick one, but I think Zach Taylor will be the number one guy. But it's just McDermott should be on top on that list as well. But Zach Taylor with the Bengals, like, what are you guys doing? Sometimes it seemed like they were getting worse from their Super Bowl run. But yeah, you still got that core team there that can actually, do something. So maybe you just need a coaching change. Maybe bring somebody else that could really, light a match under these players, to see if they can get them going in the right direction. Cause I think Bengals got plenty of talent, to be such a disappointment. They always use the excuse, oh, we started late, we started slow. Stop starting slow then. You
Yeah.
know, be like these other teams who know how to win, who find a way to win and win games early. It's been like that MO, like, for a while now. So I think, Zach Taylor for sure. I'll definitely put him on that hot seat.
All right. Wes, who do you got possibly being on that hot seat at the end of the year?
Well, I don't know about the end of the year, but beginning of the year, it's definitely Brian Daboll and Mike McDaniel. I mean, they got third degree burn on their legs already from their seats. But I'll go back to the Packers. Say they don't take that step forward or whatnot. I feel like say the injury bug hits and maybe they fall back and regress and have the same underperformance as last year. And I think Matt Lafleur be on the hot seat for sure. And I agree with James, Sean McDermott, man. He's got to be on that hot seat. And I'll add Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals as well. If this Kyler Murray thing doesn't pan out and doesn't um, go the way that they're hoping it goes within his last his fifth year option here, he's probably going to be on the hot seat and gone.
Okay. Uh, CJ, who do you got, man?
Mm, kind of a couple tough choices. I mean, uh, I kind of do. I lean more to Sean McDermott, but it's not because he's a bad coach. It's because it's what James was talking about. They have. There's times that they've had everything. You got a quarterback. You got receivers. You got a running back. You had an above average defense, and went to the playoffs and couldn't turn the corner. Yeah, you went up. And then again, it was a phenomenal game. The game between them and the Chiefs, and the Chiefs went down just because of a simple defensive breakdown. Chiefs got down to where they could kick that field goal, and it
Yep.
stopped them from going. So it's like he has had uh, opportunities. Now,
Hmm.
I'm not saying, again, we're not saying he's a bad coach,
Yeah.
but if a person's in a hot seat that has had everything, it would kind of be him. McDaniel's, I'm gonna give him a pass because gotta give him a pass with Toa. Toa is what's making him go up and down. When Toa's in there and healthy, they're looking phenomenal. And then when they do get them get them decent enough, they can't turn the corner in the cold. So they got to do something about that. If anybody else may be in on the like everybody else pretty much then changed on their head coaches already. And just what Wes was talking about, the last person I think down would be the Arizona Cardinals, because again that show that they put on over there, y'all should have been trying to get a quarterback. So Kyler Murray is not that guy. You don't have the weapons there and stuff. Then y'all need to make a change from the top down. So I gave you three, but I say Sean McDermott for the most part.
Okay. I would agree with you guys with as far as with Sherman McDermott. I mean the guy has one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Um, he has had at least in the past on both sides very good teams.
Yeah.
Defensive players, key defense players, Pro Bowls, you name it's plenty on the list that he can add. You got one of the better running backs with James Cook. You've had Stephon Diggs. Um, and even without him, you've seen how good the Bills were. The Bills were in the playoffs and they had a solid record last year. But the sheer fact that getting in the key games that you have to go against, whether it's whether it's the Ravens or whether it's the Chiefs, which is normally the Chiefs, he cannot get over the hump. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I do know this with for the quarterback. I think if it may not be the coach that's going to bail him out, it may just be Josh Allen that gets him through that game, and that's what I think is going to be. Just his determination to get past the Chiefs, the one team that's been blocking them out. You guys remember in the past how sometimes where the Colts, the old Colts with Manning would play against Tom Brady until it was that one championship game. He's like, all right, I don't give a dang what happens. We're going all out today. We're not going to leave any doubt where we're going to leave it up to the other quarterback on the other side to do anything. So that's what I think it's going to be like in that situation for them. We'll see if that plays out like that, but that's my one guy I have on this list that you know how it is in NFL. It's going to be probably more added on there, but as of right now, that's my one guy. I just can't see them going to another year and them not making to the, to the Super Bowl with a great team.
Mike McDaniel better hope they play the Super Bowl in June.
Hey, and once, and if I'm just being funny, the one team I didn't put on there or don't see on that list that we could actually throw up there as well is I don't know. I know you guys are not going to agree with that, but and I don't agree with it either. But it's funny how last year, they gave the coach the one time with the Patriots. You got Vrabel there now. I'm pretty sure Vrabel is going to last longer than just 1 year. But remember last time they only gave I'm trying to think of the coach's name. He used to be a linebacker for them for the Patriots last year, the last year's coach.
Mayo.
Yeah, Mayo, Josh Mayo, Gerard Mayo. But yeah, I was about to say you could throw them in there too, but I think they have made they'll probably make some better decisions this year. I thought he deserved to be more have more years, but
Yeah,
they
I
wanted
like
to make a
Vrabel.
change early.
Mhm.
But yeah, Mike Vrabel actually they're already getting he's getting publicity now from I know the last couple of days they were in a practice scrimmage and he jumped in there and got bloodied or something with his face. So
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the coach we need right there." I'm like, "Oh, you got to go stop a fight to last
Yeah.
longer in
Right, right.
NFL." But no, I'm just joking. I'm joking, guys.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that plays out.
I heard the Jerry Jones is going to install an octagon at their practice facility.
Oh wow.
hmm I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah. So last question for tonight, and the question is, who do you have for your offensive rookie of the year? Who do you have for your offensive rookie of the year? Wes, I'm going to you. I'm going to CJ next, and then I'll finish with James and then myself.
All right, I tell you, I think it's going to be Amika Ibuka, and I probably just absolutely just uh, didn't pronounce that correctly, but I think he has a good shot, especially
Yeah, I
with
think that's good. That was
Godwin coming
good.
back from injury and all that. I think he's going to fill out more of the slot. He's definitely going to be starting game one. And Baker last year is just slinging. In fact, I think he was either top five or just outside the top five uh, quarterbacks last year. So I think he has as good a chance as any.
All right, Mecca Buka. I got that name. All right, CJ, who you got, man?
Uh, I got I got two. I know we're not supposed to be fair, but off top, I'm gonna say Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Travis Hunter. Um, he's playing both sides of the ball, so I think it's gonna carry a little more weight with him playing both sides of the ball. So we'll see where that goes with that. But the thing I would go with and stand on is if Shador Sanders turns out being the starter for the Cleveland Browns, Shador is going to win it. Rookie of the year.
Okay. So you're saying if Shador is the starter, that's your number one pick that you
Yeah,
want for the rookie of the year.
yeah.
Okay.
If they start him,
If they start him.
if they start him, yeah, he'll win it.
Okay. James, what do you say?
Me, I think it's gonna be Ashton Johnson because I believe, and of course I don't think there's no wrong decision with all these young great talents, but I'm just kind of looking at the Raiders as they're gonna feed him more. I think he's gonna get enough. Now he is going he is on the Raiders, right? Make sure I'm not messing up my
Yeah,
teams.
yeah, he's
Ashton
on the
Yeah,
Raiders.
Jenkins.
yeah,
Ashton Genty, yeah,
yeah,
he's on the Raiders.
yeah. I think they're gonna feed them enough because they're a team that they need to find out what their style is gonna be and what their identity is gonna be. And I think they got this young talent, and I think they're gonna feed them the ball. And of course, when you don't have a quarterback that's gonna make deep plays down the field and make a lot of plays, they typically lean on their running back for those short passes and short routes as well. So I think he's gonna be fed, and then of course it's a numbers game, when it comes to that.
All
You
right.
got your you got your faith in Pete Carroll.
Man, I ain't
Well,
got no faith in
Carroll
no
likes to run.
I ain't got no faith in none of them guys. But I tell you what, though, he's gonna use his young running back. He ain't got nothing else going for him. I mean, the Raiders, they ain't got nothing else going for
All right.
them.
All right, so I think everybody had a different pick. So I'm going with the one that was the number one pick, and that's Cam Ward. I saw his game yesterday. It's the same thing I saw when he was at Miami, man. He's gonna sling the ball. If you're open, he's gonna get it to you. He's not that type of guy like what Jaden Daniels was last year or Caleb Williams. He's not gonna run around like that. But he's gonna throw the ball out of bounds. But he's also going to get the ball to the open guy. I just like his decision making, his accuracy, and the way he throws the ball down the field is bar none. He has some pieces with him already that's working with him. He's got Pollard in the backfield, he's got Spears in the backfield, you got Ridley still there. So they still got good pieces that they have in the cover. So I think I'm sticking with that guy for the rookie of the year for offense. We'll get into the defense on the next show. So that will be it for this show today. As always, please subscribe to our channel. We're on YouTube. We're also on Facebook. Continue to leave comments for us. What can we do? What things can we add on? Hey, we're all game on that. Until the next time we meet up, level up, fellas, and have a blessed week.
All right, level up, fellas. Later.
Yep.